Oh, that's right. I didn't hear about it. What happened?
Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he'll tell us. And then...
Well, tell me. Start telling me.
We'll start the show and I'll tell you. Oh, did you want it for the show or did you want to just hear it? It kind of sounded like you wanted me to put it like in the show.
Tell the story, Ryan.
But don't we have to do an intro first?
No.
Yeah.
That would be the intro, and then I'll intro after the story.
Okay, start it good though, Ryan. You gotta have an intro.
I'm gonna punch you. So.
Oh yeah. So basically, I was flying my my drone over the Land's End in San Francisco today, and the wind was super strong, and I took off and I like flew straight out, and I like kind of went to the right a little bit, and all of a sudden, like without me putting any input into the controller, it started like flying straight towards the cliff, and I was like, no! So I full throttled away from it, and I was like, it all of a sudden emerged from around the corner. I was like, oh, thank God. But the wind was really strong, so I flew around for maybe a couple of minutes and landed it. I was like, all right, well, I want to fly it one more time because the wind's kind of died down. I fly it.
That was the mistake.
I fly it out, and I'm like, I go around. It's line of sight. You know, I can see it. It's giving me like the wind warnings. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do one last like shot backwards and you know, get like a cool shot, and then just land it after that. And as I'm doing it, the line, like the trajectory that I have is like gonna go like way away from like anything, but I'm watching the screen trying to get a good shot, making sure it's in focus, everything. All of a sudden, my friend that's with me is like, is that your drone, Ryan? I was like, yep. And she's like, wait, hang on. No. And all of a sudden, like when she goes, no, it slams into a rock to my left.
Oh my God.
Thank God, no. I'm actually really happy it crashed where it did, because we hiked down to this bunker like that was on a cliff, basically. So if it had crashed anywhere but where it did, it might have fallen into the ocean. So it crashed and it like
claimed hit Poseidon himself.
Well, it hit a rock maybe like 20 feet above us, and like did a little spin out and started like sliding down the grade towards us. And the battery popped out and it was all dirty. And I go to pick it up and everything's fine. I plug the battery back in and it like still turns on, but its back left arm basically is completely detached. Like it got ripped off. So the wires are still intact. I just need to find a little hex wrench basically to like see if I can peel it open enough to like put the arm back in and see if it'll work. Ouch. So that was my day.
Beats the shit out of my story.
That sucks.
Yeah, yeah. Plus I have another like gig that I need. There's like 2 gigs tomorrow that I need to have that thing for basically. So we'll see what happens.
Wait, a gig as in a show?
Gig
or
as
gig
in
as
like a native
like
SF
gigabyte?
Session and like a music video that I'm supposed to be filming.
So much slang nowadays.
A gig.
New age terms.
What are those gigs? It's 1 gigabyte. 1 gig a month. 1 terabyte.
Gig it up.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 8 of What Is Podcast, the show where every week 3 best friends and you come together to talk games, shows, movies, and broken tech. I'm one of your hosts,
yes,
Patrick Joves. Alongside me, I have everyone's best friend, Brian Rohr.
Howdy. I have a fun story to tell, too. I was camping in a parking lot on Wednesday, and I got free chicken.
Oh my God. It was this Wednesday for the Chick-fil-A?
Wednesday. Yep.
So wait, you have 2 different locations where you get free Chick-fil-A.
Actually, the cards work across the entire country, but I did get them from 2 separate locations.
So did you just hang out? Wait, so what's the advantage of having 2 different ones?
I have double this chicken. Double the chicken now.
Wait, is there like a stamp that they stamp every time they...
No, it's just they swipe it. There's 52 you get
on
each one.
I see.
So
okay, that makes sense.
They run out. Yeah. So it was fun. It was cold, but...
it was on Wednesday?
It was on Wednesday in Rohnert Park.
Oh, okay.
In Santa Rosa area. But
who'd you go with?
John Thompson. Big Red.
So both of you guys have both,
Candyman.
right?
Yeah, we both have 2 cards now.
That's 104 each?
That's
104 sandwiches?
If you combine, 104 if you had all. Mine's been used a little bit.
Is it a sandwich or is it a meal?
A meal.
Oh my God.
It's pretty fantastic.
Why don't bums do this more?
Because you have to have an actual home address to do
it.
God, I'm sorry, bums out there.
Well, everywhere's their home. They should just put the world.
The world. I have a zip code everywhere.
And of course, we can't finish off the show without our very own rock star, Mr. Ryan McGeary.
Hello, guys.
How's it going?
It's going all right. Like I said, I crashed my drone today, so not super stoked, but it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
But stoked enough.
Stoked enough.
Stoke
Yeah.
levels high.
Yeah. Plus, you're having some laptop issues.
He's laptop. What? He's no laptop
this isn't
casual.
Kevin Hart. Come on, man. I've got laptop issues. No,
Where's the
I
laptop?
was really happy.
For a guy who's helming the technology section, you sounds like you're having a lot of tech issues right now.
It's because I surround myself with all these problems. Okay, you guys don't even have drones to crash. Okay, so don't make fun of me. I'm sad.
I wish we did.
No, it's
Oh my goodness.
basically my Hackintosh is finally running a new OS X, which I was really excited for because it could finally run my 980 Ti card because the NVIDIA support doesn't support Mavericks. It was too old. So I was like, okay, well, just upgrade so I can make sure that I can run Premiere with this sweet card that I've had for like almost a year and haven't used. And now I can't use Premiere because it's too old. And so I have to get. I'm on a trial download right now, and my friend at Adobe is gonna have to help me out again to get like the newest version, because I can't just like download the link anywhere, and
Right.
It's just a nightmare because now my Pro Tools doesn't work, and now my graphics card still doesn't work because the newest version of Premiere doesn't support like randomly injected GPU. It accepts GPU acceleration, but only for supported cards. So I need to like what? Ugh. So
it's a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a Hackintosh. It's always a mess. But it's
So I just realized I've been trying to be super quiet, trying to get gloves from my hands because it's freezing in this garage.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized I have gloves in my back pocket.
That's just a lot of extra work. But dude, you've been wearing 2 pairs of gloves this entire time.
God.
Duh, it's
no
the
glove,
Rockies.
no love.
Okay, that went in a different direction.
Oh
Anyways.
my god.
But yeah, that sucks, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'll have to get you
Yeah.
from computer
Like I
setup.
said, all this stuff is stuff I brought on myself, you know?
Mhm.
So,
It's all your fault.
It is.
No one to blame.
no one forced me to get a drone and build a computer that barely works.
That's true. That's true.
Well, guys, welcome to another episode of What Is Podcasts. Stay tuned. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think we're going to go into our game time section.
Is that a yes?
Damn it! He was literally about to start. He's giving that pause.
Oh my goodness. Yes, we are finally in game time after that. Well, it's probably going to be like a 10-second pause for you guys. Probably with a really nice video game-esque transition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm going to use this week. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about this week for, my gloves work through. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know these gloves worked through.
Science, man.
Yeah. Technology. We should talk about gloves that work with, like, technology.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, I got something
yeah.
in the tech session for you guys. Ooh, we got gloves galore.
Ooh. Gloves.
Well, this one doesn't work. Oh, it does. Anyway, so we like to start off each game time segment with what you guys can get for free for PlayStation Plus and for Xbox One. This week is no exception. For March, you guys can get on PS4 Disc Jam and Tearaway Unfolded. Tearaway, as you know, was a PS Vita game, then made for PS4. And now you don't have to do all those touch control things like back touch screen. I think it's actually logged onto the touchpad now, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Is it good? I don't remember hearing it.
I
remember hearing it was actually really good for the Vita.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play it myself, so this will be the very first time for me. So
Yeah. And then for PS3, you guys could get Under Night in Birth. Don't know what the hell that is. And Earth Defense Force 2025. And last but not least, for PS Vita with cross-buy, you can get Lumo and the PS Vita title Severed.
Severed. What's Severed?
Severed, so it's like this first person, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you like hack and slash using the touch screen.
Ooh,
But
Fruit Ninja.
it's like actually really good from what I hear.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you have a PS Vita, go ahead and add that to your library. I have no experience with it, but from what I hear, it's really good. I know I'm gonna pick it up, actually.
Sure.
That means I have to, like, reboot my Vita.
Yeah, boot it back into life.
Yeah. But anyways, that's what you get for PS4. For Xbox One, you guys can get Layers of Fear and Evolve starting March 16th to April 15th. Those are two, well, one of them is like a really big game. Layers of Fear had an interesting, like, premise.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was received.
It did okay. I think, as a whole, it was very interesting when they used kind of the painting and the way they use that as for scares and stuff like that. But apparently, the way how it did as a horror, the jump scares are definitely a little. They're all jump scares, basically. There wasn't a lot of suspense building, which is what's very crucial in I think a lot of horror games. But for what it did, apparently it was really interesting. So as a game, you get it for free. Definitely worth checking out.
And Evolve, like, the community fell off, but I hear it kind of like came back ever since they did free to play.
Okay.
So check that out. I'm gonna pick it up because I always wanted to Evolve, but I didn't have an Xbox at the time
To try it.
But
it was a really fun
And-
game. It was just I don't know. I couldn't really get into it. I think maybe it's part of the community. Maybe if all my friends had bought it or something, kind of one of those things. It's like I wasn't
Yeah.
really.
Well,
That's
now
like
I'll
I'm not
get
really
it,
interested in For Honor,
and
but
then
I know
we
a
can
lot of
play.
people playing it, so I might pick it up. Just because I want to
Yeah.
play with other people. So
definitely.
Makes sense.
And for Xbox 360, you get Borderlands 2, and from Xbox Live Arcade, you get Heavy Weapons from the 16th to the 31st. Alright, now let's go into some news. Square considers Final Fantasy XIV for the Switch. Have you guys heard anything on this?
Just from what we heard today, but I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, Switch is already a low end in terms of power for a console. Like, 14's already demanding a lot out of the PS4, and it's mainly a PC game. And if they want to make it like cross-platform, connected with everybody, I just don't see how you're going to get the same experience.
Yeah, if they somehow find a way to put it on the Switch, it's not going to be anywhere. It's not going to be anywhere, I don't think, as polished as it would be
yeah.
on PC and, well, PS4.
Right.
PS4 doesn't run that great, but
It's probably all right.
like it's more powerful than a Switch, even though the Switch came out 3 years later.
Yeah, 2000. Oh, damn near almost 4. Well, yeah, 3.5 because
Yeah.
it came out in November. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what you're gonna get on the Switch if this actually like pans out, it's not gonna be anywhere up to snuff
Yeah,
for current gen consoles and PCs.
but they could use whatever they can get. So, I
Yeah.
guess we welcome it.
I mean, yeah, we've been saying this for the past couple shows. Like, it's interesting to see what's gonna happen with the Switch. It just released.
Yes.
As of today when we're recording this. And I actually have a quick little 30-second review from one of my coworkers / besties, Mr. Joey George. If you're listening to this, man, thank you for bringing your Switch this coming Wednesday. He's going to let me play with it. And yeah, so he gave me a quick 30-second review. Quote, "So, 30-second review. The Switch is a handheld that can dock onto a TV. The interface and all scream handheld. It's basically like a portable Wii U Pro that you can take on the go. All my concerns about the controller are correct. It is super small and cramped. That said, it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing little piece of hardware. But oh god, Zelda is the fucking shit."
Nice.
All caps. I will be playing it for months. I don't even remember or care what I was playing before. End quote.
Damn.
So out of all of that,
Zelda's
Zelda's
the
good.
takeaway. Is the takeaway from all of that.
yeah,
But you can play that on the Wii U
but it's not
handheld. You can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you.
Fair
also,
enough. Fair enough.
you don't get like the sound effects.
Oh, the extra 3D or the extra sound.
guess.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard about that.
apparently it doesn't run. I mean, as smooth on the Wii U either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it'll run better in probably handheld mode.
I think, yeah, from what I heard, the Breath of the Wild works or like runs at its best in handheld
Yeah,
mode.
lower resolution makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. All right, and let's see. Another piece of news: the Mortal Kombat creator Ed Boon recently spoke on a possibility of a Street Fighter crossover. So it'd be Mortal Kombat meets Street Fighter.
Oh.
And it wasn't so much as him wanting to do that. It was more so as it would be kind of hard to do this because of the distinctive styles that both games play. Like Mortal Kombat, especially now, there's such a set string of combos that you can make, you know? And it plays so much different than like a Street Fighter where you use cancels to make combos, make combo strings, and like all these different things. They're just two separate game engines that probably wouldn't mend well together.
Yeah.
Also, they did like a similar thing with Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe.
Oh, okay.
Remember where they took the DC Universe and like one of the biggest things was like, well, are we ever going to see Scorpion rip off Superman's head?
Uh-huh.
And we're like, yeah, I don't think the creators would like allow that. So whatever you get out of that project, it won't be for everyone, if we even get that.
Right.
And last piece of news: Marvel Games wants to tell original stories that aren't held to canon. Also, they want to create Game of the Year worthy games.
I'm completely for that. That sounds awesome.
I'm completely against it.
I'm completely against
No more
it.
good games.
No. I want cred.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of see where they're going after the fall of Disney Infinity and their newest game, the Spider-Man for PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Like when that revealed, was it at E3 or was that at PSX?
I believe that was E3.
Yeah,
because I remember he had all the interviews for it after.
Right. When they revealed that at E3, I was like, what? Like, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
No pun intended. It's an amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, and they got talented developers. Was it Sucker Punch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sucker Punch, right?
Yep.
And it's like, wow, they're actually caring about the licenses that, like, they own now.
Yeah.
Instead of making like small shovelware titles, they're like, let's get AAA developers and let's try to make as much. Let's try to make these games worth it now.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and that's a good sign, particularly for me, because like I love comics. I think we all love comic book characters here, right?
I hate him. No, yeah, I love.
Who?
Who's Spooderman again?
Grandpa. Shut up.
Spooderman. God damn it, Brian.
Spooderman.
But yeah, like I'm super excited to see what they have. I'm really excited for this Spider-Man PS4 game. That's gonna be exclusive.
Yeah, from all intents that they've explained, it's gonna be exclusive.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty. From the trailer, like it looks fucking sweet.
And it'll be on Nintendo Switch. Probably not.
God, that doesn't mean it's exclusive then.
Yep, it wouldn't be.
But yeah, all right, that's all we got for news, guys. Let's go into our main topic. How have your English is hard.
It is very.
How has your gaming taste changed throughout the years?
You want to start, Ryan?
Yeah, sure. Well, for me, you know, as a young kid playing video games, a lot of the games that I was drawn to were kind of more like open world exploring Spyro type, open world for the time, Spyro type games. Like Crash Bandicoot was a huge game for me. So a lot of these like kind of thematic world type levels, something akin to the beginning of open world type games, Grand Theft Auto. And then as I grew up, I got more into shooters because I found them less about exploring and more about just being challenged, like on a physical level. Like how fast can my fingers move? Like how fast can my brain...
Oh, I can tell you the answer to that.
Very fast.
He knows from experience.
Very, very fast.
Oh, Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
And yeah, I don't know. And I think that has definitely continued. I mostly play shooters. But I think also I still very much enjoy open world type games, and I think that has a lot to do with my early game experiences of exploring like games like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and even Grand Theft Auto, and just what I find them overwhelming a lot nowadays. I love Witcher, I loved Skyrim, and I'm starting to play Horizon now, and it's just all overwhelming and beautiful and immersive, and it's a great, we've talked about escapism before, and these big open worlds do it better than anybody, but at the same time it's challenging to really sit down and make time for it with everything else going on in my life. So it's hard to really appreciate them, I think, at this stage of my life, just because I don't have as much time to actually sit down and play for a couple hours on end. But it's they're still one of my favorite types of games. I think a lot of times though, these longer type games are very convoluted. Like I loved Final Fantasy as well, but some of the storylines was just like, what is going on?
The man got sucked into a rock.
Yeah,
it's like that's the best ending you can get.
Right. Well, and then
could you imagine if that was like an 8-bit form? People would be like, "What the hell is happening?"
That's kind of hard to
touching pixels
to display, huh? Like, wait,
very much.
No, but I think
square.
I think for me, like shooting games are the most challenging, but open world games can be some of the most fun. Like just playing Assassin's Creed and just like running around and collecting all the flags and just like dicking around on the roofs of of Paris back in the day. So that's probably kind of
back in the day.
Back in my
That's
Paris
literally how
days.
Assassin's Creed opens up.
Right.
Paris time. Back in the day.
Play some dope rap music.
Right.
What the hell is this?
Man, Assassin's Creed just really needs to stop. They don't even know what they're doing anymore. It's like just takes place in 1990 or something like that.
Damn, that was hell back in the day.
1990.
We went so far
What about you
back.
guys? I mean, how?
Yeah, I think for me in particular, I probably had one of the biggest changes in terms of my taste for gaming, because as a kid, I literally just played like things that I found that were like easy. Like I played Pokemon, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't even know there was a save feature. I literally would play Pokemon Silver for like
turn it off.
for literally like I'd play like 2 hours at a time and then just turn it off and then be like, well, I guess I got to start over again as long as my battery lasts.
That hurts my soul.
It does. And then I find out that save. What does save mean? And it saves my content. And no joke, the first thing I did is I called my dad, who was busy at work. I said, Dad, I can save my content now. Now that my
Did you actually say
Cyndaquil-
that? You know what? I believe that you said those exact words.
Well, I probably didn't say
I can
save
save
my
my content now.
My content. But I just said, I can save my game. My Cyndaquil can evolve now, and it will go back to its original form. And he's just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm busy. Bye. I'll see you when you get home.
So much.
Yeah. So, but as I got older, I feel like in general, just I've really gone for stuff that's more challenging. Like, I mean, I play those weird puzzle visual novel series. Like, I like things that kind of realistically you probably wouldn't want to play when you want to relax. Like, you don't want to have to sit there and do math in your calculator or whatever just to solve a puzzle for your game. But I really enjoy kind of stuff that makes me think a little bit harder. But and I'm just trying. I just play way more than I used to as a kid. Like, I think I told you guys before, I purchased, the 3D, not 3DS, it didn't exist then, the GameCube and the N64, but I only owned like 2 games. I missed out on, it'd be like, you had the GameCube, cool, did you play like Super Mario Sunshine or anything else? I was like, Resident Evil,
You didn't
4.
play Super Mario Sunshine?
No, all I played on GameCube was Super Smash Bros. Melee, which was fantastic. And
I can still beat you.
yeah, he's probably any day of the week. I think that was it. I honestly
Wait, you played Resident Evil 4 though, right?
No, never. Didn't even have Resident Evil 4 till the Wii.
That's when you played Resident Evil 4?
Yes.
The Wii version?
Wii version.
That's a good version though.
It's a great version. But basically, my tastes as somebody growing up for gaming, it's just expanded exponentially. I mean, it's just, I wouldn't even consider myself a gamer when I was a kid. And then,
Really?
yeah, growing up, and now that's like one of the biggest hobbies I have. So,
That's how we became friends.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, there's been a big change for me. So, yeah, what about you, Pat?
Yeah, for me, thinking back, I'm the youngest of four, so when I was born, I want to say like I had a controller in my hand because we had the Super Nintendo at the time, and I think one of the first games I remember ever playing was probably Super Mario World, and like there wasn't a lot of variety back then. I mean, by that time there was, but in terms of how games played differently from today, there wasn't that many. There's a lot of side-scrolling games, a lot of platformers, and there's a lot of puzzle games, you know? And for the majority of my childhood, platformers were my thing. Like, I just love platformers. And throughout, like, the PlayStation 1 and Dreamcast era, I started playing a lot more, I want to say, like, fighting games, because I was pretty into fighting games at the time. Like Tekken 3 was huge with me and my brother growing up. Bloody Roar was huge. Dead or Alive 2 for the Dreamcast was a big thing, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was also a thing, but we played more of that in arcades. And then now, like fast forwarding to the most current generation, it's funny because I remember games being a lot harder back then, but like in the opposite sense where Brian didn't really classify himself as a gamer, like that was like the immediate title I put on myself because that was all I wanted to do. Like all I wanted to do is play every single game 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I did. Like I honestly, I think I was better as a better gamer as a kid than I am as an adult because of the amount of time that like we were able to put into it. Mm-hmm. And plus we didn't have that much money, so whatever we're stuck with at the time,
that's what you play.
Yeah. And you just get good. And like all these, I think, and to put it into like perspective, when people play Call of Duty and they're getting owned by these 11-year-olds, they're like,
there's a reason.
How are these kids so good? And it was like, dude, they literally go to school for like eight hours, and then the rest of the time they just play Call of Duty.
Yep.
And that's how I was as a gamer too. Like, I would go home and play the shit out of Super Mario Brothers, and now I know like almost every secret path, and Donkey Kong Country I know like almost every secret barrel where you could just like jump off the screen. And you'll land in a barrel, and then you go to a secret area.
I think when I was 16, I played so much Call of Duty Black Ops that I would play like Nuketown only maps, and I would just sit in the corner with like double like MP5s with rapid fire, and I would go like 160 for like 25.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, bringing all the calls.
Well, I actually remember the moment like when I realized that I could be that good was when I was about to go to band practice, and I started really caring if I died or not, and played. I played the game as if dying really mattered, and I wanted to survive no matter what. And once I started playing shooter games like that, all of a sudden I was like doing so much better than everyone else when I would like be more careful and not just like run and gun. I would like, carefully like choose where I'm going, and then I don't know. It's
that sounds.
I played a lot of Call of Duty.
Yeah,
that's exactly. Yeah, that sounds like something that.
Thanks for the contribution, Ryan.
Call of Duty.
I'm just saying I was that kid at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, like kind of reeling it back in because I just went off. Like my gaming taste nowadays consists mostly of story-based games. Like I love linear games. The exception was just recently playing Final Fantasy 15. That took up 70 hours of my life, and I'm like, I never want to play an open world game for like the rest of this year.
I'm done for a while.
Yeah. And that's how I find myself playing games nowadays. Like, it's a very mood-centric thing.
Decision process, yeah.
Yeah, like, I just played 70 hours of an open world game. I don't want to play an open world game right after. That's why I'm, like, holding off on Horizon Zero Dawn. Great scores, great gameplay. But right now, like, all I want to do is play, like, Gears 4. I want to experience the story and just get through something and have the satisfaction of completing something. And also with that, like, I found myself nowadays playing a lot, like, I want to go back and play the hard-ass games that I missed on the Super Nintendo. Like, I want to play, like, every single Mega Man. and like I want to play like the Castlevanias, and I just want something like tough as shit to play.
Yeah.
I have no idea where this craving came from, but it kind of started. It probably started a couple years, like last year or so, when I played. What's this game called? Downwell.
Yeah.
You picked up Downwell for PlayStation Store, and it looks like a retro game. It's 8-bit. Premise is very simple. You go down the well and you try not to die and like your only mode of attack is these gun boots strapped to your legs, and you get power-ups, and there's like a million things on screen that could kill you. It kind of reminds me of like a bullet hell shooter, but vertical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just awesome. Like, I'm the kind of gamer that like in the forefront. I love games for gameplay. Like, just like as much as I love story games and what games can do nowadays, like I said in past episodes, like escapism, I still very much am that type of gamer where I was like, give me that high score.
Right.
When Resogun was out for PS4, I was like, dude, this game is the shit. I want to be the fucking best at this game. And yeah, chasing that high score and trying to better yourself every single time, like that's kind of what I'm into at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Also trying to play more linear style games until I beat a linear game and be like, now I want to play Horizon or
open
play
world.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of which,
makes a lot of sense.
I did get a chance to buy Horizon and get to play it a little bit. Wanted to give you guys my impression of it. Basically, I wasn't sure what to expect, going into it.
Okay.
I think we've all seen like some of the gameplay, right? Is that fair to say for you guys? You guys have seen the gameplay, but don't necessarily know what it's about.
I know what it's about.
It's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's Jurassic Park.
So
And that's
I
it.
went to I bought it and I kind of went into it not really knowing anything, and I was pretty blown away that within the first 2 hours of the game you're already like feeling for the characters. Like there's a moment in the first 2 hours where you're just like, no, why does this have to happen? No. Like it's
Oh my god, no.
like honestly the beginning, the first 30 minutes you kind of play as her as a young child.
Spoilers.
As a way of what?
I know.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We know. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen
and
the
you get to play as her as a child to kind of develop the character, and it's kind of a roundabout way of doing a tutorial, right? Without just being like, this is a tutorial. Like they use it as a way of like teaching you basic gameplay mechanics without, shoving it down your throat. And
Right.
And I wasn't really sure how I felt about it until, maybe about 3 hours in. I was like, okay, this game's pretty good. The story is just so well done. The first, 3 or 4 hours are pretty linear, and then you kind of open up into the open world. And that's where I'm getting overwhelmed already. Like I think I've played it for about 8 hours now, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's so much to do. I want to do all the side quests, but trying to stop myself from doing all of them. But I probably will do all of them. But
yeah,
it's very beautiful. I know the gameplay trailers, look really pretty, but there's something about like
you have to see it native.
Yeah, it's one of those games that with my PlayStation 4 Pro, I'd really love to see on a higher res TV than mine.
Is it native 4K?
No.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
so
It's not res, right?
yeah, it's checkerboarded for 4K.
Yeah,
but if
okay.
you play on a 1080p screen, it's going to downsample the checkerboarded 4K, so it will look better.
Oh yeah,
on a 1080p
even on a
screen with a Pro model.
Absolutely.
I'm always so astounded when you explain that. I'm like, what is he saying?
Stuff.
This is why I
well,
love
it's
this
it's
man.
such a it's such a gorgeous game, and just the attention to detail. I think this is probably some of the best motion cap I've seen on faces in a game. I mean, just from like a purely rounded standpoint. I mean, because a lot of like take Final Fantasy 15 for example. Some of the cutscenes are well done as far as like translating the American voice acting, but on a general basis, the lip syncing is atrocious. The motion tracking is atrocious for the American voice acting.
Changing it to Japanese doesn't make it any better, by the way.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball on from an animation standpoint for that, and it really destroys the immersion a lot. And I think part of what makes the characters so, endearing for this game is the fact that they're very believable. I mean, the graphics are just incredible. The character design is incredible. Just watching people talk. I mean, just the nuances of people's face. They did such an excellent job in capturing it. You have to talk to, someone very close to you that you admire, and they're telling you some bad news, and they even animated that person avoiding eye contact with you. It's incredible. I mean, just the very small attention to detail makes this game already very awesome for me. I'm very impressed with it so far. So I'm excited to keep playing it and seeing how the storyline plans out and how the gameplay gets more complicated, because even in the beginning, they kind of throw a lot of tools out your way. I've kind of avoided watching all the tutorial stuff, though, just so I can kind of play it out and just figure it out instead of having stuff that shoved down my throat, like, here's a new gun, here's what you do. It's like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good to hear.
Well, cool.
I'd recommend it.
Before we go, what have you guys been playing?
So that was Ryan's thing, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically what I've been playing.
No, what have you been playing?
No, what have you been playing right now? For me, to hold me over until I get to play Horizon, because I'm waiting in the mail for my copy. I've been playing Valkyria Chronicles Remastered.
All right, I was there when you got it.
Yeah, and I'm really liking it. It basically plays like an Advanced Wars or Fire Emblem strategy RPG, but then they use this kind of real-time third-person shooter aspect of it. So whereas, Fire Emblem, you have your top-down view, grid system to move your characters. Same thing with Advanced Wars. It looks like that. You get a map, and when you decide to move a character to a certain unit, it zooms in into like the third-person view to show you where the character's on the map, and you get to move them in real time to a spot that you want them to attack a target. And then there's RPG or RNG and how they attack, and if their hits land on the enemy they're fighting. But it's gorgeous. It does this kind of painting style cutscene system, and the music and just the way it tells a serious but lighthearted story reminds me a lot of Ni no Kuni on PS3. So I'm really liking it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, for me, just more Pokemon. I think I beat the second trial, because there's a third trial, and there's like this guy, his hair is like supposed to look like fire, and he's like burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
So I think that's the third trial. I've just been playing more Pokemon. I actually haven't been home a lot, because I've just been going over Marisha's house, and like that's all the game time I can get.
Dude, if you had the Switch, you'd be able to get a lot of Breath of the Wild in if you were visiting.
That's true. I should bring my PS. I should bring my laptop over more so I could just play remote play.
By the way,
and
have you guys seen the new War of Mordor?
Yeah, I saw the freaking 2-minute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it looks so cool.
It looks so bad.
No.
Ass.
So is that like the sequel?
Yes.
To the last one?
Shadow of Mordor.
Oh yeah.
I think I might get into this one because I missed out on the last one.
I played the last one. I played it for about 20 hours and then got distracted with side quests. Like,
okay, maybe I don't want to play this one then.
Well, it was a really good game, but and the story was good. I just the gameplay was so good that I didn't give a shit about the story anymore. Like the whole usurping the whole orc hierarchy and like trying to find the leader, tracking him down, killing him, and then watching someone else take his like spot for revenge, and was just really addicting to like just keep killing orc leaders. It was very satisfying because the very strong ones would be in these strongholds surrounded by all these people, and you could use your like wraith powers to brainwash people and have them like attack other people or have them walk away, and you could just do all this really, really cool stuff. The gameplay, again, was so good that I didn't care about playing through the storyline because I just wanted to run around Middle-earth killing orcs. I mean, it was really good, so I'm excited for this one.
Nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comment section how your gaming tastes have changed throughout the years. All right, that's all we have for game time. I swear to God, my mind is just losing it. That doesn't even make sense. I'm just losing my mind.
Yep, you're running on fumes.
All right, guys, that's all we have for game time. We'll be right back with our TV segment, What's On?
Welcome back to What's On, everyone. So today's topic that I wanted to bring up was what cartoon or anime series has the prettiest or the best looking animation? So I guess we'll change it up. I guess, Pat, what are your thoughts? If you had to answer first.
This way, Ryan doesn't get to take my picks.
Yep. Helping you here.
Immediately off my mind when I was thinking about this was One Punch Man. I don't know if it's because I've been watching it 20 times a day, or if it's just that pretty. Which I honestly, I'm thinking back and it's very pretty.
Yeah.
Especially when they put so much detail onto the character's face when he turns like serious, and the fact that it all holds up with like the speed of everything.
Yeah.
When they start doing really fast-paced action, everything still looks very vibrant. Like you could tell what the character's doing when the action goes off. Like the very first episode, he's fighting like these giant subterraneans, which I didn't even know was a thing, like until I seen that episode.
It's crab people in South Park, but yeah, subterraneans.
Yeah. But yeah, like at one point, like he is probably less than like a quarter of how big these things are, and just how small he is compared to that, you could still tell he's like flipping and facing a certain direction, and there's like, oh wow, like it's the attention to detail that like helps with that. And then also like the third fight scene where he's like, or the third episode where he's fighting Carnage Kabuto in this, like it'd be the essential anime version of training stage in any fighting game.
Yeah.
It's like a whole bunch of blocks.
White blocks.
Yeah, and it's a whole bunch of squares everywhere. And then all of a sudden, like towards the end of the fight, it turns red, like this neon red, and I was like, wow, this is a really like pretty backdrop for like this fast-paced action. Yeah, so I was thinking One Punch Man. I'm also thinking Furikuri or Furikuri. Yeah,
FLCL.
They, like, I remember watching that and I was like, wow, this looks really clean. When I was watching, and the same thing, like the action in there is so like grand, but it still comes off very like beautiful.
Sure.
Like the fact that like episode 5, I think it's Bure, the bullet one. They shoot Naota out of like a cannon or something like that, and he like kind of just barely scratches the roof, but like the roof like bends around him because of like the gravity, or I don't know how to explain it, but like the roof like molds into his shape even though he hasn't even touched it.
Right.
And it's like that attention to detail was like, what the hell is this? Like, it's weird. And like it has like this, it kind of has like this shiny feature like on the characters themselves during certain moments where like if the sun was bouncing off of someone's face, you could see like that shine in there also. And then I think they even have like certain lens flare like scenes where like that's where the camera would be, or that's what the camera would show.
See at that moment, yeah.
If this was like a live action thing, and like stuff like that really captures my eye, in terms of like prettiest shows or like animated shows. But yeah, what about you, Ryan?
When I first thought about this topic, a couple things came to mind. There's I don't know, for some reason, a lot of the examples in my mind were kind of older stuff that stuck out to me. And I don't know why, because there's plenty of really, really beautiful stuff nowadays. But when I think of like really beautiful stuff, I think maybe like Akira, and how the animator had so much detail that people like accused him of like rotoscoping all of his stuff, right? I mean, there was a certain technique that they use. I can't recall what it was, but there's just so many. There's so much attention to detail with like just how, how people's like clothes flow and their hair and just all this stuff that really just stood out to me as just being hyper realistic to the point where it's just like, whoa, this doesn't even feel like an animation anymore. It's just so good. And then I would say another kind of old school show. I guess it's old school because it's almost 20 years old now. Cowboy Bebop, for some reason, just really has this certain aesthetic to it that I have never seen any other show get close to. And
it kind of has like this grunginess, like when it comes to their actual airships. Like you could tell they're like not the prettiest, most well kept.
Yeah, and they do a good job of showing that.
Yeah, and
it oozes
the style. Yeah, the style of the animation is just so unique, and anytime there's like a fight scene, it's just extremely well done. I mean, it's just very fluid. I mean, just the other day, just as I was like kind of thinking about this, I was rewatching some of the fight scenes and just like, watching Spike being such a kind of lanky, nimble person, but he's still just, just so good at fighting, and the animation totally lends to that character's kind of suaveness of, he's almost got this drunken monkey style, and they just do such a great job of like representing that in the animation, where he's just kind of like flipping around like it's nothing, and he's just got this cavalier attitude as he's like, blocking your punches, and I don't know, it's just everything flows so well, and the style is so unique that it's one of, in my mind, one of the more beautiful animations out there for sure. So
it's funny when you bring up his fighting style is like, they even have a whole episode, and they're basically loosing it off of Jeet Kune Do, the style that was made famous by Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite parts of the intro of Cowboy Bebop, which I think is one of the greatest intros for anything ever.
Absolutely.
Is there it shows Spike in a red backdrop, and it just shows his silhouette, and he does this kick that's so well animated that if you watched or are a fan of Bruce Lee or seen his films, that kick. And they copied it, or like they animated it to the T for like an anime aesthetic. And it's like, I love it so much. Like, that is like my little treat every time
you watch it. You don't want to skip it.
Yeah, I never skip the intro for that.
Plus,
just
Tank
like I
is
never
a really
skip the
great
intro
song,
for.
So.
That is a great song. I need to re-download that song. But yeah, like I never skip that intro, just like I never skip the intro to Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's not that big of a commitment too. It's just good.
It's so amazing. It like tells the whole story of Batman.
All in one. Yeah,
all in one. But yeah, what do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think this is definitely something that I've kind of figured out based on just what we've been watching currently. But Patrick and I have been getting together, and we've been watching a rebuild of Evangelion, which, if you guys don't know about, is basically the remakes of the story for Neon Genesis Evangelion, but in film form. And there's 4 movies. Only 3 are out right now. I think the 4th one is sort of in this weird no man's land. We don't know what's happening, when it's going to be done. But it's been fantastic because it's been able to give what I think is a wonderful series, the time and the effort that it deserves. And you just see it in the animation. I mean, we were watching it, and it's just like, we got to watch it with surround sound too last time.
Dude, it was awesome. Holy
dang,
crap.
it was good. But they do, what I really like is, I feel that 3D animation in like standard 2D cartoons or anime can really make or break how it looks based on how much they use and the quality of it. And I think that the rebuild films of Evangelion do a really good job of balancing it out. A lot of the mech fighting uses the 3D animation style, but they still blend in the 2D art in those same scenes when it makes sense.
Sick as fuck.
And it looks super good. So a wonderful series to watch. Maybe like some honorable mentions, I would say, maybe for North American cartoons, just anything that like Legend of Korra, that team. They also did the Netflix original Voltron Legendary Defenders, or Defender. And just, I think when you were saying earlier, Pat, it was, an animation is really pretty when everything is very clean and you can see what's going on in every scene when it's getting intense, when there's a lot of action, but you can still make out what everything's doing, what's going on. That just shows the level of quality that they've put into it. And I think Legend of Korra, while we feel the story got kind of weird towards the end, just the action and the choreography of it was just beautiful and fantastic from start to finish.
That's what kept me watching. Like, I always wanted to watch the action scenes
And see what it
this looks so like good animated. Like, you could tell, like in Last Airbender, it was very traditional martial arts.
Yes.
And then when you get into Legend of Korra, like all the firebenders are like boxers. It's
Yeah.
like, oh crap, they're throwing jabs and hooks.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's sick, dude.
I remember that.
That's awesome. Like when I saw the first episode, I was like, I think I'm gonna love this. I love the animation of it, and kind of like, yeah, just the animation of it.
For the most part, just the animation. Yeah, I think I agree with you on that.
It's funny, we've gone through this topic, but none of us have mentioned anything Hayao Miyazaki.
That was the next thing I was going to say. I was going to say like kind of classic retro going back. I would say like Princess Mononoke.
It feels...
or
Dude,
I kind of avoided it because
yeah.
I felt it was cliche.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, it's just like the go-to
Okay,
pick.
Ryan.
It is. It is. When you think of beautiful animation, you think of Miyazaki, especially as like from an
Yeah.
American perspective. Like that's what most
Yeah.
people's kind of intro
Most
to animation
people have
is.
been immersed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a given.
That's true. That's a very fair point.
I also want to rewatch Princess Mononoke now.
It's
so good.
It's so pretty. It's so good. The story.
Dude gets his arm shot off with
An
the
arrow.
arrow.
Yeah.
And it's like clean.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
holy
I don't think I can do that.
It looks like a cartoon steak, or it's just like the bone in the middle.
Yeah.
How does this work?
Hey man, he studied anatomy or something. I don't know. That's how
And
how
that
bones
pig.
look.
Remember the
Oh
pig?
yeah, well, it's all like gross and stuff.
It looks like a Resident Evil pig or like a Bloodborne pig.
The bloodborne pig. That's what I was thinking with multiple eyes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, such a good. We gotta watch some Miyazaki stuff soon.
That's next after Evangelion. We'll watch some Miyazaki. Ryan, you're coming over.
Sounds
But yeah, so I think usually we start off the segment with news, but I didn't do that. I thought I'd bring up something really important before we end the segment. Probably one of the bigger TV news that we've seen this week is the new YouTube TV. And it's basically like, cable subscribers have something to watch out for because YouTube, as we all know, is huge. And they're finally adding their own... YouTube? Who is this?
What is YouTube? I still use E-Bombs.
E-Bombs. Oh my goodness, that's old.
I'm more of a
Still.
Newgrounds type guy.
Newgrounds, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm more of a Homestar runner, but that's cool. Yeah, so basically,
That's so old. I didn't even get that.
You don't
I
got
know what the
Homestar
hell that
Runner?
is.
You don't know what Homestar Run? Oh,
I didn't
okay.
get Wi-Fi till like PS3.
You don't need it for.
Come on.
I didn't. I had to steal my Wi-Fi off of my neighbor.
Okay. We'll show it to you later. It's not that great though. But basically, yeah. So the YouTube's offering their own TV subscription service. They're gonna have TV channels, the local ones that we're normally used to, but things like ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, Disney Channel, Bravo, but no Cartoon Network from what I've seen, which is kind of weird, and some other things. Haters. And of course, the cost is gonna be a big thing. This is what's gonna be interesting for a lot of people. So it's $35 a month. That's kind of expensive. I mean, I'm not sure if that would be something that I'd be looking into, but I think when you get your YouTube TV subscription, you also get YouTube Red, which is kind of nice. So you don't get ads. You get, all the other content that they make and stuff. So I think it just goes down to one of those things where, the more competition that there is in this, market, maybe we'll finally see Comcast and Time Warner and some of the other cable networks, AT&T and such, kind of have to really think about how they're doing their pricing and different structure for their subscriptions, because they kind of basically have almost a oligopoly on this kind of stuff, and it sucks.
Kind of.
So yeah, that's something. Go ahead, Ryan.
What did I say? You're saying that they have a
Sorry, I just didn't hear.
monopoly on the market? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Makes sense. But anyways, so that's kind of the big news that we took for this week. But so that ends this week's segment. But wow, what do you guys think? In the comments, let us know what you think is the most prettiest animated cartoon or anime. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, come back in a little bit and join us for our next segment, Keeping It Real.
Ladies and gentlemen, that topic was brought to you by Dialed In Project. Ryan, do you ever wish you could relive a moment in time?
Absolutely.
All the time.
Well, now you can. Dialed In Project is a local photography and videography business that can be there to capture every moment from every angle. Need a high-quality video of your child's 5th birthday? Have a wedding but no photographers at the ready? Want high-quality photos of your beach family reunion? Dialed In Project's got you covered. Like I said from past episodes, they really are the hardest work. They're like so hardworking and so accommodating. They are really nice guys, and they're they get like every angle. They have videos going. They have 2 cameras going, and for any event, they're like, give them a chance. I can vouch for them. Go to their website, dialedinproject.com. You can see for yourself the great like quality of photos that you guys can get from them. You could see on their YouTube channel like the types of videos they could do, and they'll work with you with any sort of event that you have going on. Anything big or small, they're there for you. Just go ahead and check them out at dialedinproject.com. That's Dialed In Project. Relive every moment. What's up, guys? Welcome back to What Is Podcast. We are in our movie section, keeping it real. As you guys like to know, or as you guys know, we always start off our segments with some news. Minus Brian, because Brian does it last, and he's weird.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. The only thing I have for news right now is the Nightwing movie is in the works from the Lego Batman creator. Or director.
Oh. Is it gonna... It's not Lego, though, right? It's just a Nightwing
No,
movie?
it's just it seems like they're just expanding like the DC universe, and it seems that the director of Lego Batman is in works with trying to get a Nightwing movie started.
Okay.
And I don't know, I feel like I love Nightwing. I love Batman. He's one of my favorite comic book characters ever, and I love just everything Batman. But I wonder if like everyone will get it.
Okay.
You know? Like, is it diving too much into, like, comic book knowledge? Where, that's what it kind of seemed like with Batman vs. Superman, where it's like, oh, they have, like, they have the Injustice plot as, like, a dream sequence, and...
No one really knew what it was. That's, yeah.
Yeah, like, no one but, like, more hardcore audience was like, oh, okay, I get this.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to, like, have, like, for everyone who doesn't really care, but still goes to the movies because it's a summer blockbuster, I don't know if it'll appeal too much. I mean, I know people are going to go see it because it's another comic book movie, and you know how people get super hyped over that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's like it's going to be something big.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And is it animated or is it live action?
I'm sure it's going to be live action.
Okay, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. There's going to be a high chance that, it could be a little too comic book. Like, it might require you to know a little bit more than most people would. And it'll just have to just be a great movie to begin with so that people who don't know about it will like it.
I mean, the counter argument is no one knew who the hell Guardians of the Galaxy is, and now everyone wants to be a fucking raccoon and a tree,
exactly.
Like for Halloween.
They got to do it that way, where it's just make it such a great movie as it is, like by itself, so that people will really care about it and really like it. So,
yeah. So, what do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, we agree. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, that's yeah. I was just making fun.
Yeah. What do you think about the Nightwing movie, Ryan?
It'll be interesting. I don't know. We'll I don't want to put too much, hate on it before it comes out. So I'm just gonna kind of cross that bridge when I get there, kind of thing,
Makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, you already said it. I mean, it's gonna be kind of mixed. So we'll see.
All right. Cool. And that's all we have for news. So let's get right down to our main topic. With the rise of streaming services such as Netflix, and hearing how, like we talked about last week, that Netflix is trying to push for 50% like original content, is it even worth like buying physical copies anymore? Physical copies of movies or like TV shows or anything like that? Because Netflix is huge on streaming. Yeah, I mean it started. It kind of. I want to say it kind of started the whole streaming like epidemic.
It definitely contributed to it.
I would say that it popularized it because.
Yeah.
I would say that it showed people that it's lucrative. That there's the potential for making money off of it. Like they were the first to be successful doing it, and so other people used it as a business model and an example for, jumping ship to streaming.
Right.
Yeah. So like with that being said, like, is it even worth buying DVDs, Blu-rays, or like 4K Blu-rays or anything like that anymore? Like having that in your house as a physical item.
Yeah, I will say for like 4K stuff, yeah, probably still. But then you need because I think there is a 4K like Netflix option you can pay for, but it's not a lot. Yeah, it's like some of their original content and maybe like one or two, like not two, but a few movies.
Just one or two
movies. So I think for 4K. Yeah, you still want the physical disc, but in general, like, for a lot of major, movies like that, you could literally just go down to Redbox and just like get a movie that you want to watch if you don't want to wait for it on Netflix, like the day it's released. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's really. I think it comes down to if it's. I mean, it's what we do. Even maybe years ago when we bought our Blu-rays and DVDs, you bought it because you love the movie,
right?
Like you wanted to own it because it was something that you just loved. You almost want to not necessarily help the I guess the director and the people who made it, or the people who were able to set the movie up, but you own it because you just want to have it almost like a collectible or something that you cherish. It's like a part of your collection, but I think for the average consumer, it doesn't really make sense to buy them anymore because you can wait a couple months and it'll either be on Netflix, or you could stream it from a bunch of other really cheap solutions or options. There's like Vudu, there's Fandango now, there's like all of these streaming services you can use. So you can do it all from the comfort of your home. But Amazon makes it pretty good, easy to buy them too. So I think for me, I think it's kind of definitely dwindling the point of having to buy Blu-rays.
So do you think at any time you're going to kind of just not have any physical copies and everything's just going to be stored like to a cloud?
I think that's definitely where it's going. I know for games and stuff, I'm not that way. Yeah. I don't like having everything digital. I like having to open the packaging, smell the little art booklet or whatever, but that doesn't exist anymore.
That doesn't exist. No,
there's no instructions booklet, manual.
That told you everything.
Right, but I like owning the physical things for me. But then for movies, I feel different. So I don't know.
That's true.
What do you think, Patrick?
That's funny because I was say, what do you think, Ryan? So I personally love owning a movie, and I think more than anything, the reason why is I am a person that loves rewatching movies. Like I love if you couldn't tell, I watched One Punch Man like 20 times already, and Young Justice season 1 and 2 like 4 or 5 times. Like I'm the same way with movies. I love revisiting movies, and it's sort of a ease of access predicament for me. Like when I go on Netflix, I know a lot of people do this, but like I'm so indecisive that I can't tell what the hell I want to watch. So I end up like spending the hour that I wanted to watch something just looking at look at all these options, And for me, it's like I want to see an action movie. I'm like, oh, well, I have The Matrix, or I have Ong Bak or something like that. I'm like, I want to see something action. Let me go to my collection of action movies, and like I know every single one in here is always gonna hit like a sweet spot for me. So that's like my like.
So you're saying
Little
you've already
like,
cultivated your own taste in movies in a specific way because you've purchased them, because you know you already like them. So there's no doubt in your mind that anything that you already own is worth rewatching.
yeah, like I will always rewatch everything that I own.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Plus, I also like the special features that you get with Blu-rays. Like, they pack so much content into those things. Like, for example, The Dark Knight has this psychology of Batman. It's probably like an hour long. It delves into exactly what it sounds like, the psychology of Batman. And they go into the rogues gallery of Batman and how it kind of mirrors, like, each different rogue is a reflection of what Batman could have been, you know? And, like, I can't get that sort of content from, like, streaming.
Right. It wouldn't be included with a rental.
Yeah. So, like, I like a lot of those little aspects that come with it. Those aren't my selling point for physical copies, but I definitely, like, enjoy that they have that as an option.
Yeah, and you can definitely find that special content online a lot of the times. But more often than not, that's because someone has ripped it off of a DVD and put it online for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's not being released separately. So I get what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah, and it's just that it's on the disc, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm done with the movie,
right
and then
there.
it goes right back to the menu. You're like,
Might as well.
what else is on here?
I mean,
and that's how, like, you just stumble on it.
I wholeheartedly agree with this special features thing. For me, I mean, part of the reason I love Interstellar so much as a movie is, like, having had watched the special features and understanding really what went into making it the way that it was. You know, what was the mindset of the director, and, you know, all the special care they took in making the movie. So, but as far as, you know, the owning a physical copy or something or not, in my opinion, what it really comes down to is, what media are you most passionate about? I don't think it has anything to do with accessibility. Well, it does. But I think most importantly that the factor that trumps everything that I've seen from, you know, just talking to people, people tend to own the physical copies of the things that they care about the most. Like, for me, I like music the most. And so I don't care if I have a physical copy of a video game or a movie, but I care if I have a physical copy of a CD. Owning a digital copy of a CD just doesn't do it for me. I need to have the artwork and the thing in my hands. And there's something, you know, gratifying about, you know, putting a CD in for me. And also, as someone who's really into audio quality, you know, CDs will have the highest quality version of the content. I mean, it's going to be completely uncompressed. That's another argument that you can make for streaming is, you know, sometimes the streaming will be bad because your connection in this movie that you know is gorgeous is running at, you know, half quality because it's just trying to keep up with the streaming service. So that's definitely a bottleneck for sure. But I think, you know, because our friend Eric Kuros, right? I mean, he owns physical copies of almost all of his games. And
it's awesome. It's so glorious.
I know, right? Watching it, looking at his video game collection is amazing. It's like, I own a ton of video games too, but I actually prefer downloading them now because I don't want to go to the store, and it doesn't bother me to not have the case. But for Eric, he's very passionate about video games. So, you know, for him, owning a physical copy is extremely important. So I think more than anything, at least from my perspective, it's about, you know, owning a physical copy is an extra level for people. It's a step above. You know, it's not just about consuming it. It's about holding it. It's something tangible that people can know, that they know won't go away. Basically, it's like there. They can pick it up. They can touch it. Whereas like a movie on a streaming service or on a cloud or a digital version just doesn't feel the same. Doesn't have the same weight, I think. You know, whether it be a video game, movie, or album, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think when you guys touched up on quality, that's like super important because when Patrick and I were watching Neon Genesis, you know, just a couple days ago, we were like, oh, I own, you know, a rip of the movie we were going to watch on my computer. But then I thought about it. I was like, wait, you should actually know. You should get the Blu-ray because it's going to have the best uncompressed quality for both audio and video. And like you said, there's going to be times when your internet's out and not working, or you're having, like you said, half the bit rate of the file that you're getting at one time, and it just like looks garbage. You don't have to worry about that if you have the physical copy. So there are, for certain purposes, and it makes sense to have the physical copy, and there's a good reason to keep it, basically. So,
yeah. Do you guys think at any point, like, I know how we feel about physical copies of stuff, but do you think at any point it will get to this future where everything's just digital?
I think I can see it going that way. I mean, we have so many. I think resource management is going to be really important going forward, and like if you can save resources by not having to print out make all these discs and everything because you can do it digitally, then I think that's honestly where it's going.
I think it's hard to tell because we're so young, and it's hard to look at the spectrum of media and in all its formats, radio, newspapers, television, video games, movies, albums. All of these things have never really died out without having some sort of other physical, tangible aspect. We're living in an age, we're seeing a transition into it being everything digital for the first time. So I think it's really hard to say with 100% certainty.
For sure, yeah.
Because in my mind, I think that nothing will ever die out as long as there are people in the world that want, because there's always going to be a nostalgia. If anything, think about the resurgence of vinyl. Vinyl was dead.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
The resurgence of vinyl came out of nowhere, and it came about, it came from this wanting of owning something high quality and tangible. People still read books. I mean, people still go to the movie theaters. People thought,
books?
Right? People thought, video rental stores would kill the movie theater. People thought,
oh my God.
People think streaming will kill movie theaters, but people still want these experiences. They still want to go to movie theaters and watch it on the giant.
I found myself that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like I find that I've been going to the movies a lot more recently than I have, like more consistently at this point in my life than any other time. I think part of it is because I have money now, but also part of it is that they have these reclining seats at Brennan theaters, and it just makes the experience of like watching a movie so much better.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Get Out with you guys.
Oh,
tomorrow.
We're doing that tomorrow. We're going to watch fucking Get Out.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll have that review for you guys on the next episode.
Yeah, forward to it. Something I was thinking about, just kind of to interrupt when you're talking about like the nostalgia and like the having kind of that retro feel. We were talking about Cowboy Bebop, and I'm thinking of that episode where they find that VHS player. And I'm just like thinking about like people will want in the future. You're gonna be like, oh man, we have this Blu-ray player. Like, whoa, that's so old school. Like, and then you have like Spike kicking it, just like it's like not working.
It's not working.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what are you doing?
He's like, no. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you guys think. Do you think we're gonna live in a world where everything's just through streaming or cloud services, or are we gonna still have our physical copies? Yeah, that's all we have for Keeping It Real. After the break, we'll get into our last segment, Tech Nerdy to Me.
All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking around with us. It's time for our final segment, Tech Nerdy to Me. And today I wanted to talk about something a little different. I wanted to talk about cell phone unlimited data plans and how they've kind of changed over the years. Brandon, pretty sure you're excited for this as well. Just as a
phones
lover. But real quick, I wanted to get into some tech news
6 to midnight.
before we delve into this. I'm sure you guys have heard that, recently NASA has announced a 7, I don't want to say livable, 7 planets within the Goldilocks, ring, the habitat, the habitable, or oh my god, what is it? The
habitual.
The habitable.
No.
Habitable.
Yeah.
Help me out. The zone in which you can live because you are far enough from the sun that you won't die, and you're not close enough that you'll burn up. basically the zone in which liquid water can exist, right? So the NASA scientists have made this discovery, and I think that's incredible that we have found, and this thing's only 49 light years away. I mean, that's the craziest part, is that it's so close. We could easily send a probe out there within our lifetimes. Not to say that we're going to make it there ourselves by the time that we die, but I think it's pretty crazy.
So that's 49 years of our time if we were traveling at the speed of light.
Correct.
So that would still we don't have that level of speed, right? But you're saying if we had some probe or something over the course of many more years than 49, we could eventually get there.
If we sent a probe out there tomorrow, we might be on our deathbed by the time we get some information on it. You know, it will.
But with Amazon Prime, it would get there in 2 days.
Oh, they do the new universe shipping, yeah.
Basically, you know, our some of our oldest satellites that have been traveling, 80 years, not 80, 50 years, are now just kind of leaving, or, the solar system, or getting to the edge of the solar system. And it's, and then you have to travel another 49 years at the speed of light. I mean, so it's definitely, we would have to make some pretty big advancements. And I think we're definitely on our way. I mean, Elon Musk announced SpaceX is going to send 2 non-astronaut people around the moon. So that's pretty cool too. So pretty interesting stuff as far in the way of space travel. And then also the guy who invented the lithium ion battery created a quote unquote solid state battery. So that's kind of interesting.
Ooh.
Apparently much faster charge and discharge, longer cycles, and non-combustible. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, no more blowing up phones.
Exactly. So with that news out of the way, I wanted to talk again about how cell phone data plans kind of came to be and how they've kind of been formed today, So just a quick kind of recap on how unlimited plans started. It all started with, unlimited talking and texting, even before smartphones were a thing, before, browsing the internet on your phone was a thing. And, with the advent of the iPhone and smartphones, it all kind of became, looking stuff up on your phone on the internet was new, right? I mean, that wasn't even people's brains in 2005. And then Here comes smartphones, and a lot of companies on a non-regional, national level were doing unlimited data basically at the beginning, and just as a way of just kind of sweetening the pot, because they were competing against these giant networks like Singular, right? And then Singular merged with AT&T, right? And then that's who they are now. And so you have these giant 4 kind of phone conglomerates that are kind of controlling everything. But back in 2008, they're one of the first people to do unlimited was Boost Mobile, and then they kind of
where you at
Boost Mobile and Metro PCS became some of the forefronts for that kind of plan, and then it picked up with some of the other people later on, maybe 2010, 2011, and from there it's fluctuated all over the place between being unlimited, not unlimited, throttled. I think it's
limitless.
Yeah, and so many of these ads are completely deceiving. And if you're not very tech savvy, then I think it's very easy for people to be taken advantage of, which is kind of my gripe with the whole state of things being the way that they are. I mean, initially, unlimited plans seemed like a good idea because there just wasn't that much data being transmitted and not that many people using it. And then as smartphones became more and more ubiquitous and more infrastructure was required to facilitate this high traffic, it wasn't profitable anymore to have unlimited plans, So if you take Verizon as an example, they've switched their thing so many damn times. that it's ridiculous. You know, they initially stopped offering it in 2011, and then like the whole grandfather contract thing, you know, came into effect, and a lot of people, like I've been a Sprint customer for years, have had to deal with grandfathering in their unlimited plan, but it's not truly unlimited. And you know, if you want to retain your unlimited status, you have to you can't get a subsidized phone contract. I mean, it's just all so frustrating. Because even last year, Verizon, the CFO said to its investors, like, no one wants unlimited data.
What?
Let me say that one more time. A CFO of a national telecoms communications company said no one wants unlimited data. That's just so out of touch. That's just so incredibly out of touch. That's just the most idiotic thing that I've ever heard. And of course he would say that because it's not profitable. Of course it's not. Yep. I mean, the amount of money that they have to dump into infrastructure to support that would lose them a lot of money. And I get why they're saying it, but it's kind of insulting to hear someone say that no one wants unlimited data. That's just ridiculous. And
it's like Comcast saying nobody wants fiber optic. Like, really?
Yeah, we want slower internet and data caps. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I mean, it's just
it's like people telling Patrick, you don't want all the pizza in the world.
Yeah, that's a good kind.
Am I right? Yeah, that's about right.
Right. I like it. But you would never say yes to that.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's just a bunch of semantics to get people to like be like, yeah, I guess, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't use that much data. And then they get slammed with all these overage charges and soft cap throttling and stuff. And it's definitely, you know, proliferated the telecom, you know, the phone companies, but it's kind of, you know, creeping its way into cable companies as well and in ISPs. So that's even more concerning, like getting throttled.
Your home internet.
I mean, and sometimes sometimes, you know, I'll have better cell phone, I'll have better Wi-Fi or better LTE service than Wi-Fi. It's like, ugh, God.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of silly.
I mean, so in the thing is too, you know, there's been such a flip-flopping between unlimited plans that, you know, it's kind of hard to keep track of who's doing what, right? So it's just kind of crazy to think that there's no such thing as an unlimited plan anymore, you know? So it's very frustrating, I think. I mean, and I've looked at my data usage and it's not that crazy, you know? So it's but it's just as the file sizes get bigger and bigger, it only makes sense that people would easily go over these, as, you know, maybe they're trying to stream like a not a 4K Netflix on their phone. I mean, that's not really, you know, the display technology doesn't really make sense on a phone.
That.
Yeah, but at least not right now. So, but you know, it could easily get to the point where you're trying to stream high quality stuff, audio and video, and it's just you're getting completely financially ruined. No, that's dramatic. that's hyperbolic a little bit.
I've been ruined.
You're getting screwed.
Will marry
you're
me
getting
now.
screwed by people who are promising you one thing and doing something completely different. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, AT&T was the last. Actually, only as of recently, as in this year, within the past month, AT&T kind of jumped back on, and now every single company has an unlimited plan, but they all have soft caps. So Verizon's is 22, and then you get throttled. AT&T's is 22, and then you get throttled. T-Mobile 28, and then throttled, and Sprint's 23, and then you get throttled. So if you go over that, they're not charging you more, but they will slow your internet down at an unknown rate.
Degree. Yeah, I was gonna say, touching up upon kind of people streaming with their cell phones, like a lot of Samsung and Android devices have those, you know, the 1440p displays. So if you imagine trying to, like, you know, stream YouTube content, which they offer in that quality, like just while you're out and about, like your data would just get destroyed so fast.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's ridiculous. Like the amount. It's like almost like a inflation like effect where like content is getting of higher and higher quality, but then data limits aren't going up with it as often as they should. So it definitely has to change.
And the thing is too, it's just so shady. It's like, oh, get unlimited data for $50, and then like a little asterisk, and then at the very bottom, like, oh, plans are throttled after such and such a cap. So, I mean, it's hard to sit here and complain and be like, why don't you spend $1 billion in investing into infrastructure in your company for my benefit? It's hard to look at someone and say that in a serious way, but really, I guess again, like I was saying earlier, that is frustrating, is that they're saying no one wants it. I mean, that's just crazy. It's
wrong.
I mean, not many people actually use it, so that might be a statement that they could say, but I don't think you can say that people don't want it, especially because there are people who do, hit 100 gigs a month because they're just constantly watching stuff on their phone. People are just tapped in, or they're commuting to work, and they want to watch Netflix on their phone or something on the way to work.
This is like an interesting thing for me, because for me, like, I'm still on a family plan with, well, my family.
Your what?
And like, my family?
What's a family?
What's a family? Family?
Who?
Family. The things
that live near you.
Yeah, so I'm on like family plan, and like and the hair, and yeah. So yeah, like, I'm on the family plan, and we each, like, we split it up evenly to the point where I think our family gets like 10 gigs of data a month, and if we go over, then we have to pay like 25 cents, like
a gig or some stupid,
megabyte or something. I don't know how this shit works, but yeah. So since there's like how many of us on the plan, it somehow works itself out to, like, if we go past 2 gigs of data, then you're kind of like screwing everyone else over in the family who wanted to like do something and not haven't used their 2 gigs up yet. So like, it's funny because me and Marisha were looking into like switching over to like T-Mobile, where like I think right now for $100 you get 2 lines unlimited, and they also give you 2 free Samsung Galaxy 7s, S7s, something like that. But like this whole unlimited plan, it's very appealing to me as a person who's
been limited,
who always wants to like stream YouTube on his phone, or like watch Twitch like streams or something like that when I'm out and about, but I am unable to, or like play Pokemon Go and just like run around like an idiot. But then like after like 5 minutes, it's like, oh, you reached like 2 gigs. Do you want to keep going? And I'm like, I want to keep going. There's a Snorlax right in front of me. But yeah, honestly, I hella want an unlimited data plan. I've always wanted unlimited data.
Yeah, I think something that's really interesting for me is that I think I've had on T-Mobile, I usually have my 5 gigs with the throttling after, but I also have like the data rollover, so I always like get more data that I haven't used. So I have a pretty big amount. So you do.
I
have a big one.
Enough to feed the needy.
Yeah. But something that's always been kind of a weird pet peeve, and it's not something that is actually a very practical one, but it's like, it kind of bothers me when everybody asks like, yo, dude, what's your Wi-Fi? Where's your Wi-Fi code? What's your thing? I'm like, dude, just use your stupid data. And it's because no one has enough. Like, whatever moment you can save on data, it makes sense. But as someone who never really had to worry too much about it, just because of my data usage in general as well, it's not that much, it always kind of bothered me. And I was always wondering, like, how much data do you have that's causing you to need to use Wi-Fi everywhere you go? And it makes sense. Like, it's so expensive to have, a bigger cap or whatever was deemed as unlimited in the past. So
yeah, and some Wi-Fi hotspots suck.
I know.
But like Starbucks is usually pretty good. Like they like kind of, they facilitate people needing to drink coffee and people needing to just like study or need internet. So like their Wi-Fi is pretty good, but like there are like places around that are like, oh, we have free Wi-Fi, and it's like like my LTE works way better than this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when you're like Ryan. You're saying it's funny how sometimes your LTE signal can be faster, even with your upload speeds too, than like your cable service or ISP.
Pretty frustrating. Yeah. I mean, it's just a it's a kind of, as people who like pay close attention to data and cell phone technology and display technology and streaming services and stuff like that, it's not everyone does, but I think it's a little bit extra insulting to say that no one wants unlimited data. So I think it's interesting that there's a paradigm shift back towards unlimited plans, because I think, from maybe 2012 to 14 to 15, there was a huge shift away from it, that people were saying like, we'll give you these plans, like, trust us, you don't need more. And then anything on top of that is extra, right? And then people are getting slammed with like, oh, I went like a gig over my data cap, and now I have to pay like all this extra money on my bill that just appears. And then even still with these soft caps, there's a lot of like kind of hidden fees that are not being addressed. I mean, I think that's what happens when you have all these, when you limit competition, you aren't giving customers the best service, and so that's kind of what's happening. It's like there's all these kind of monopolistic type industries in the telecommunications industry that are just kind of not really competing that much against each other. I mean, they are, but it's very weak, and I think there's lots of interesting things that are, again, it's a weird paradigm shift back towards unlimited plan, and it's, people I think more than ever are using their phones as a way to tap into internet content. There's, people are busy. People don't necessarily carry around a laptop with them all the time, or want to pay for extra, LTE for their iPad or their tablet, right? So, cell phones are their main way of consuming, internet content. So it's it'll be interesting to see now that, again, like I said, AT&T jumped back on the ship, but all these soft caps are really deceiving. I'm not happy with them.
Yes,
and I don't see it changing anytime soon, to be honest. I don't, especially with the FCC being headed by someone who doesn't even want net neutrality. I can't imagine that there's a bright future for soft data caps being cracked down on, because originally the part of the reason that Verizon changed its plans to for its unlimited, was because the FCC like basically told them to knock it off,
right.
So it's what was it, 2014, they were going to do what they were calling network optimization, which is throttling, right? Even on the people who had grandfathered in their unlimited plans, until, and they were threatening their customers with being like, oh, this is going to happen, like at this certain deadline. And then the FCC came down on them and it's like, you can't do that. Like that's illegal, and so that was in 2014. And obviously that they haven't made too much headway with it, because now everyone's getting throttled, not only on their phones, but, even with cable services. So I don't know. I think the FCC is not in a good spot to fight, for consumer rights. And I think a huge part of why this is a big deal is consumer rights. Being told you're going to get paid, you're going to pay a certain amount for your bill, and having it be real and having it be the accurate representation of the expected cost. Prime example with Comcast. I have a $5 random broadcasting fee that I have to pay every month, that I have to call them every month and tell them to take off because I don't even have my cable box hooked up. And they're like, oh, well, it's still the best internet price that you can possibly get. And I'm like, I don't care.
I don't care.
This is illegal to put this fee that's not actually required. This is just bullshit that you guys made up to jack up the price of my bill. And now you're charging me for something that's not what you promised that I would be paying. There's all of a sudden $7 more on my bill every month, and they do this for all of their customers across the board. and they're just raking in the profits. I mean, just
because they realize, no one's going to be like, oh, well, it's not that much. I'll let it slide, right? They know people will do that, and for the people who don't complain, they're going to get that money.
And going back to the cell phone services, if you charge like a fee for going over your data cap, people are pissed off, but they'll just be more frugal with their
they'll take it
with their data usage. It's like, no, that's not how it should be. If you're in an unlimited plan, you should get unlimited data without throttling, without extra services. So again, I don't think with the current state of the SEC that is going to improve anytime soon. But I think it's important. Again, consumer rights are a big problem in the telecommunications industry, because there's so many people being taken advantage of because the non-competitive nature of the market. I mean, Comcast and AT&T are literally the only ISPs that I can get in my entire building, period. Or I pay a service fee to get someone to install a satellite dish on my roof, and I have to cough up the money. So.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, again.
That's why we all read books.
Right?
What are those?
So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a minor nuisance, but it's definitely at the cost. It's the financial cost and the personal gain of these giant companies, and that's pretty infuriating.
Agreed.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 8 of What Is Podcast. If you like this episode, don't forget you can download every weekend.
Hey,
you download whatever you want, shawty. You download it now.
You got unlimited data.
You got unlimited data. You could download it in the BART, or you could download it whenever. I don't know why my thug, smooth accent changed into, a country twang. But yeah, if you like this episode, you can download every Tuesday by 11 a.m. on iTunes. Just search What Is Podcast, all one word. Thank you for the 7 people that downloaded last week's episode.
New record.
Two gold blues. Yeah. Yeah, just make sure when you guys download us, if you guys could share that, like it, and subscribe to our channel. And also, most importantly, please rate how you like our podcast. It doesn't have to be great. Could be good. We just like to see what you guys think of our show. And if you guys want to get more of us, you could check out our Facebook page. That's also What Is Podcast. You could like us there, see what we're up to. If you want to get more of us outside of the show, you can check out my YouTube page, Krabby Patty. That's KRAB_B_PATTY. Also, check out my Twitch channel. Same thing, Krabby Patty. I should have up from the last couple archives, the whole Batman Arkham. No. I think it's just the Batman the Telltale series gameplay. So I have every episode of me in commentary for that. If you guys want to check that out, I know soon I'll be playing. What's this thing called? The Last Guardian. I know it's a little late, but if you guys want to see commentary on that and see how I enjoy the game, go ahead and pop over to twitch.tv/KrabbyPatty. Ryan, do you have anything you want to share with the class?
Yeah, I mean, still doing more native SF stuff. We're filming a session tomorrow over at Ocean Beach. That'll be really cool. I'm going to try to get some drone footage incorporated into this session, so I'm excited about that.
Is that a gig or is it a sesh?
Gig sesh. It's a gig session.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just it's the Native SF City sessions. So we're gonna have a band come out and go serenade people on the ocean. So I think it'll be really cool. Plus, I just got a cool new toy, my Zeppelin and Dead Cat, basically, which is a wind nullifier for movie sets and other professional audio. So it'll be really clean. I think I'm excited. As long as it doesn't rain, which there's
we'll
no
definitely check
that
out, guys. Oh, okay. Well, no guarantee, so don't check that out. But still check it out.
Don't check it out. I mean, check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
And, yeah. But don't.
But don't.
And Brian is not trying to share his Chick-fil-A stamp card, so don't even bother.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I'm his best friend, and he won't even let me get some Chick-fil-A.
Not at all.
So.
What a jerk.
All right, guys. Thanks for another great week. See you guys next week. Black love. You've been in the mines for a day, Derek.
Here, let me give me 1 second.